What is going on, my friends? I hope you are doing well today. The team at TRE wants to say thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for joining today. This is the Real Estate Podcast, and we want you guys to do us a solid. If you don't mind, can you help us get the message out? We believe that real estate can be for anybody, and we believe there's opportunities for people to grow with us. So if you can, please share, subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for being here on our journey, and we are going to continue to add as much value as we possibly can and try to shake up the industry. Let's dive in.
And I had to just focus, go all in on this. What's the next step? What's my next little target? So you do need a plan, and it is hard to let yourself think bigger and get out of that scarcity mode and that survival mode. But if somehow you can daydream, meditate, just think of what you want without guilt, without regret, without I don't deserve that, other people, whatever. You can create what you want for your life and your family and have more impact for other people.
Welcome, guys, to the Real Estate Podcast. Matt and Alex here, and we got Jessica Smith. Thank you for coming, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. We're going to have some fun today, guys. Jessica, you have a great story, and we try to provide as much value as we can constantly. And you have a lot going on in the real estate business. You've done a lot. And what I would like to do is to dive into a little bit of your background and your story of how you got to where you are today. Take your time. We would like to really get it out there. This podcast, not so much an interview, but ultimately we're just trying to provide value to listeners, but also kind of learn more about your story and get that and share that with other people.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess where did you actually grow up and have you always been focused on business? Because I know you're very business minded with what you do, and kind of walk us through growing up, what that was like, and we'll start there.
Yeah, it was not always that way. I grew up here in Austin, and my parents were teachers and a manager at UT, a print shop manager. And so I went to college because it was expected of me, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to major in something where I could get a job after I graduated, and the classes I loved were kinesiology, sociology, just different types of classes. So I thought learning was cool, education was cool. There was a program where you could get a master's and a bachelor's at the end of 5 years.
Okay.
So I was like, sign me up. I think a master's degree sounds awesome. I want to see if I can do it. So it was in taxation and accounting. It was a 5-year program where you get a master's and a bachelor's in accounting at Texas A&M.
There you go.
So yeah, it was fun. I proved to myself, my parents, whoever I was trying to prove something to, that I could do it. Mm-hmm. I got my CPA license and did an internship and started at a CPA firm in Houston.
Okay. When you got into that finance, taxation type side, was that early on in college, or do you come to realize that that's what you wanted to do a few years in?
Yeah, I never really realized that that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I just kind of by default didn't know what I wanted to do.
Got it.
It's maybe civil engineering, that sounds cool. I would seem hireable, Mm-hmm. I really just was like, this is awesome. Let me get a degree and go sit somewhere and work all day and get paid and pay my bills.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so I did that.
Okay.
And then I started working all day and paying my bills.
Yeah. So it was just kind of not clear, but let's just take some steps and do something to accomplish something.
Right.
What about jobs growing up? You have jobs in high school and what kind of stuff was that?
Absolutely. So I worked at the daycare in the church, and my mom was a teacher, and I decided that was not for me. I saw how many hours and how hard she worked, and I kind of just started crossing a few things off the list. And then I waited tables and worked in the service industry a lot. And I really enjoyed talking to people and those relationships and just service type jobs. But I'm a little bit of an introvert, so I wasn't sure if what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I just kind of took classes and learned as much as I could and then picked a path.
Got it.
Was there ever the thought of being an entrepreneur, having your own business throughout this, or was it straight get the job, get the degree, sit at a desk and work all day?
Yeah, no, there was never a thought of I'm going to own my own business. I eventually in business school, I heard, 99% of small businesses fail. And I just didn't have a product or a plan or I didn't know what I could do to add value. And my parents were from the generation and the mindset of like, you just work hard, stay loyal, and you'll get taken care of. You'll get promoted, Don't hop around, just bust your butt, stay somewhere and get promoted.
Head down,
move your way up.
one step at a time. So you weren't really, would it be accurate that you weren't around a lot of entrepreneurs growing up? Like,
absolutely not. Yeah, that's correct. That wasn't even really in my scope of what I considered.
Any siblings?
No.
Just you?
Just me. No siblings. Yeah. So it was interesting, and I got the degree. I worked hard. I took the CPA exam, and I did tax returns. And I was a staff accountant at a middle market firm in Houston. And I was like, man, I'm not fast enough. I need to work harder. I need to get there earlier. We got there early as can be and worked late and ordered dinner and got the stuff done because I didn't want to take too long because it was billable hours and all of that. So I worked hard and I observed the people around me and what my future would be if I kept working hard and staying in that industry, my manager and even the partners there. And I was like, oh man, is this what I want? But luckily I was married and had some kids. And so I kind of crossed paths and I was a financial analyst for a tech firm for a while. But I had a little bit of a security blanket, and I knew that I didn't want my boss's job in accounting.
Yeah, I remember being in that when I was at a commercial brokerage. That's really like work your way up, takes 5 years to make money. And I was looking at my boss, and I was like, he does really well, and like I respect him, but
totally.
If I was like doing what he did times 10, I would be miserable.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this.
Even times 1.
Yeah,
it's like, man, that's why I'm working so hard, just to keep going and get a little bit more money. And
what would you do as a financial analyst? What was your role there?
Yeah, I looked at the monthly financials and did a forecast and, the variance and all kinds of even like payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable. I just did the finance department for a data processing for ADP. So
it's mostly internal, like where the company currently stands, where we will be here in the near future. Not so much outside the company.
No, I just help each little cost center, each department be profitable and hit their numbers, or gave the data to the controller so he could, manage the business and become more efficient. And they started outsourcing to India. And I was like, man, I'm just helping these rich people get richer. Like, why am I here? I feel like I'm a little bit in a hamster wheel, and I got tired of hearing myself complain to my friends and family. And I was like, yeah, I've been complaining for 5 years and I'm still here.
Right.
Did you like that? Maybe not where you were in that position and that company, but did you like that aspect of what you were doing, analyzing the financials? And
I like Excel spreadsheets. My mind thinks in Excel, and I like when things balance, the books, and I like certain aspects of it and kind of some project management. There were pieces of it that I definitely liked, but I just got a little introspective and was like, man, am I making a difference? Is this it? So
yeah, I'm curious because like obviously there's been like something that changed because now you're running your own team, you're doing entrepreneurial stuff, you're buying real estate. Like, what was the, from there to where you're at now? Like, was there a profound moment or like what happened?
There were a couple moments.
Yeah.
So at first I had some security and I got pregnant, which was a journey and a challenge. But I decided that after my maternity leave, I would take the leap and spend more time at home with Allison. And I had a husband at the time who had a job, so I had a little bit of security. But I got my real estate license while I was still a financial analyst, just on the side for friends and family. I'd always kind of been curious and interested about it. And at the time, I was just a pretty bad realtor for the people that worked there and people I knew. I didn't have a good coach mentor. I just kind of learned the hard way by making mistakes. Don't recommend it. But
same here.
Yeah, it taught me some lessons, and it got my feet wet. And so, yeah, it was just kind of for extra money, for vacations, for fun money, for stuff above and beyond the normal life that I wanted.
So that process of getting your license was not like a huge change for you as far as mindset or anything. It was just kind of like, I'll get the license and keep doing what I'm doing.
Maybe a side hustle.
Yeah.
And I've been curious about things my whole life. Like still, even now, I'm like, man, I can't wait to have more time so I can start woodworking or like doing different random things. And so I was just curious about it and wanted to learn. And I went to ACC and took classes. And yeah, there wasn't a huge shift. I just was like, maybe this can be a side hustle. Mm-hmm. If I can sell 1 or 2 houses a year, maybe I can pay for an awesome vacation for our family.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you just jumped in, started learning.
Yep.
And then what's next?
So then I had 2 kids and the end of a marriage was next. And so I had a moment of like, okay. And there were several moments like this of, am I going to go back to accounting and go back to stability and benefits to support my kids? Or am I going to really turn this side hustle into a business? So I was like, I'm going to regret it if I don't try. Let's do it. I want more time with the kids than I would get in the cubicle, and I want to pay my bills. Mm-hmm. So subconsciously I made that decision, and that's exactly what I did for a while, 5 years or so. I joined some brokerages, made it turn into a business, consistent income, but just enough.
How hard of a decision was that for you? Because a lot of people listening, and as we encounter, a lot of people here at the brokerage and agents you're currently, coaching and overseeing, it's not the easiest decision for a lot of people to make. And so maybe it was for you, and like for us, it was like the only option, right? Mm-hmm. And so what was that thought process like as you're going through this of stability for my kids, which is very important, obviously, and, or try this out and give it a shot and let's see what happens?
It was super scary all the time. Like every couple months, I would have a moment of like, it's a roller coaster, great. I get 10 or 20,000 bucks, but what if that's the last check that I ever cash? I don't know what's in my pipeline. What's next? Like to have the faith that it's going to work out was hard and scary. But I also had a little taste of, man, I'm in control. If I work hard, I don't have a ceiling. Yeah. And so that was exciting. And that's when I started kind of getting that itch and becoming a little bit addicted to getting better and getting those checks. And I was just like, I know I could go back to a financial analysis job and make X, but what if I could do more? What if this check that is, 3 or 4 or 5 paychecks, what if I could double it?
That's what I like that viewpoint. And when talking to people who are trying to make this decision, that's a point that I bring up. And there's no right or wrong answer, right? Like do what's best for you. But a question I ask is, what's the worst that can happen? Like someone recently, we were just talking about him, Eli, he's Elliot. He's he doesn't go by Eli, Elliot.
I know, I keep calling him Eli again.
Elliot.
I won't do it again, buddy.
He's an engineer and or was and is and he's trying to make this decision. I said, well, what's the worst that could happen? If you did go this route and it didn't work, could you go get another job anywhere else? I mean, right now it's a really great opportunity to go get a job anywhere you want. Can you go get another engineering job somewhere? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And so, that is something easy to fall back on if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And like, there's like this dynamic of like, you want more and you can go do it. And then it's scary, but you're scared, but you have to go through that and you have to embrace it. And it's what pushes you to do more.
Right.
And I remember I was working at Papa John's when I was a realtor, and I would get like, I don't know, $800, $900 paychecks. And then I remember getting my first like $7,000 paycheck, and it tripped me out. I was like, $7,000? And then, that's what this business is. And so you get that little taste. So similar, like you get it. And then I'm like, I don't want to do Papa John's anymore, but I don't know if these commissions are going to keep coming in. So it drives you to push harder and to do more. And then you realize you're relying on yourself, and it's all just a numbers game. So that's cool. I mean, I think it's there's a lot that can be taken away from that, because people are in a position where they are still at that job and they don't exactly know how to break out. And there is a little risk they have to take, but it can work out.
For sure. And I think I knew that I wasn't putting the time into real estate to really give it my all and do my best. So I was like, am I going to regret not really trying this?
Yeah.
Because I felt like a mediocre agent putting in the minimum time. It was kind of cool, but I don't know if I've always just had a chip on my shoulder, like wanting to prove people wrong. Or I know your video. That was awesome. But I mean, part of it's internal for me too. I'm just like, man, if I really put myself into this. What could I be a great agent? Could I be a good agent? And you hear stories of people that I heard about a guy at KW that took off 3 months a year. And I was just like, well, you hear of other people doing it. So I was just like, am I going to regret not really giving this my best?
Sure.
The prove people wrong thing, you don't have to touch on this if you don't want, but is this something like that you created within yourself of like, or was it kind of external circumstances of people maybe wherever, maybe school, or saying like, no, you won't succeed doing that, or you can't do that, or was this something you internally?
It's a little of both. I don't think I was really picked on that much. I didn't have that many haters, but I was always a little bit scatterbrained and everywhere, and I would lose stuff. And so I remember telling someone, like friends' parents or my family, that I wanted to be a CPA and be an accountant, and they were like, what? You know, just little comments like that. I'm like, yeah. Why not me?
Subconsciously sticks with
I know
you.
I lose my keys every day, but
Hey,
what the heck?
I'm kind of like that.
But I don't lose numbers in spreadsheets. So
Right.
That's cool. I love it. I think entrepreneurs are all similar in a lot of ways. And I when you ask that question, because I feel like that too, I have a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, I don't exactly know. Maybe it is self-imposed. I'm not sure, or maybe it's a mix of subconsciously things like that happening over time. And
but my parents always were like, you can do whatever you want, if you work hard and whatever. So they always tried to give me that confidence. And I was lucky to have safety net kind of. I wasn't going to be out on the streets if I didn't pay my rent that month. And so that made it a little bit easier than a lot of people have it. And I'm really thankful for that. But it kind of gave me the confidence to push me over the edge.
Yeah. And you have a lot of skill sets, I feel like, to be doing what you're doing with us on Agent Success, and like understanding like the numbers and like having a process and a system is really important for these agents, which you're helping with. And you become a leader, right? Like you're leading people and people look up to you and you're helping them. Do you look at yourself that way? And like what point did you say like, I'm going to take control and be a leader of myself and other people?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I said, I just kind of didn't realize I made the decision to just spend more time with my kids and pay the bills, but I started to feel a limiting belief that I had, that I didn't want to get too busy. I didn't want to be working all the time and every weekend, and I really wanted to be there for my kids when they were little. So I was kind of grappling with that and realizing that was holding me back a little bit. And then I met my husband and got remarried, and we found out a lender recommended a book, Busting the Real Estate Investing Lies. And one of the writers, Jimmy Vreeland, has a company called Cash Flow Tactics. And so I didn't think I had enough money to invest here. I bought a house when I got divorced, so I had one house that I was living in. But we got in touch with this company, Cash Flow Tactics, and they were like, we can make anyone financially free in 10 years or less, regardless of income, experience, or background, whatever. So I still was hesitant, but I had a game plan call with these guys, and they took our financial numbers and kind of showed us that it's possible. Here's what you have to do. Here's your 90-day targets. They broke it down. And here's your game plan. Here's how it looks from year one through year 7. Mm-hmm. And at the end of year 7, 20 single family homes, cash flowing properties, they have a certain strategy. So little by little, I was like, man, I see these other people doing it, knocking out singles, like house 1, house 5, house 7. Mm-hmm. Then you get momentum. And so I was like, babe, let's do this. Why not? Let's go all in. Mm-hmm. Let's get some passive income. And that was the first moment I really took the time to focus on, what do you want? If money was not a thing, what would you do more of and what would you do less of? Mm-hmm. So I went all in with this coaching and this program and went to their in-person events. And there was a speaker, Robert Allen. He's written some books on generating wealth and investing in real estate. And I heard him say, like, after high school, like I always knew, I just decided that I would never work for anybody else. Mm-hmm. And it's silly. It's so simple. But I was like, man, you can do that? Like you can just decide and then do it. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of had another moment then. And I was like, there's a lot of realtors that aren't the smartest, most amazing, and they're making a bunch of money. Like, why not us? Why not? So it was a shift in mindset. And really, I just started investing in our business. And I was like, okay, here's this limiting belief. I don't want to work 80 hours a week. Mm-hmm. What can I do? So I invested in a coach, and she taught me how to like dump my brain on paper and create systems. Jess Smith, she's amazing. and how to automate, delegate, and turn this self-employed, running around like a crazy person into a business that could run without me potentially. So it's been a journey the last couple years to try to really just create systems and hire and delegate and like find efficiencies. And I realized I was bottlenecking my own growth because I didn't want to be too busy and I didn't really want that much more business. And so, yeah, that was the second shift. And over the last 2 years, just the shift in mindset, I mean, and some of the additional marketing, but my business doubled. I mean, that's when my business really started taking off.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I think as far as I know, real estate is the best way to make this stuff happen. That's why we're always promoting it, and I'm just a big believer that everybody should be interested in real estate simply because of the fact that you're either paying your own mortgage or somebody else's.
You gotta live somewhere.
That alone, right?
Yeah.
But then just what you said is like, I forget the exact word you said, but like you can do, like I could be my own boss. You could do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, real estate is the way to do that, as far as I know. Like,
There's
it's the best. And there's other things.
Upfront costs. You don't have to have a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
It's a pretty inexpensive business to start.
Yeah, and what I really like is it's been a big journey for you, and like you've changed a lot, I'm sure, from that original mindset that you have about like just do what I'm supposed to do and check the box, and you're now talking about limiting beliefs and you're leading people, and I would imagine, and I'm just thinking, as far as you running your team and like doing agent success, these are all things that you're trying to put and pour into other people so that they can get there as well. Is that
Absolutely.
A big focus of yours?
Yeah, I've always loved seeing other people reach their goals and helping with that any way I could. After my third surprise baby, I got kind of stuck in the postpartum time. And so I hired a life coach, and it came up with a morning routine that really helped me grow and push past that. And so I love sharing that. I used to coach CrossFit. I love seeing other people succeed. So I was like, man, how could I help other people? Can I, give away this program, or can I help other agents? And so it's been a journey since then, but it's super fun, whether it's clients or health or mindset, getting unstuck, or other agents. It really gets me going. It's really fun.
When you're working with these agents and coaching them in agent success, what do you feel, and for yourself and your team, what have you found to be the most, and everybody's different, but what have you found to be the most beneficial way to get somebody going? Because like we were just talking about, real estate being your own boss, low barrier to entry. It's pretty simple to become a real estate agent, and there are a lot of real estate agents, but there's a small percentage of all of those real estate agents who really actually do all the real estate agent work, right? And there's a lot of real estate agents who don't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so what have you found to be successful when teaching new real estate agents to really get going and get started?
That's a good question. And I'm still learning what works for me doesn't work for other people. And, this is the place of no fear. And I'm here now, but always before, I have fear. I have not door knocked. I have not cold called. I just was uncomfortable doing that, but I found some ways to lead gen that did work for me. The relationships, referrals. I am from Austin, and so I had a network, and social media was more comfortable for me. So I found ways to lead gen that worked for me, but I've always had trouble focusing. It's easy to get distracted by why other realtors are successful, and so I think the biggest thing for me and new agents is like, let's pick something and break it down to some daily action items, and it's a numbers game on the spreadsheet. If you make this many calls, you're going to talk to this many people, 10%, and 20% of those people are going to meet with you. And then I can break it down where if you make this many calls, you will make this much GCI.
And if you double those calls, you'll make double that money. That's what I always talk about.
It ends up just being a simple, not easy, but simple. You can do this many open houses. If you add this many people to your database, it's a numbers game. So a certain percentage of those people are going to be like, hey, I really resonate with what you're putting out there, and I need some help. Could you help me? I was really turned off by the salesy aspect of it. So there had to be a shift, and it was like from sales to providing service. And I'm like, okay, it took me a long time to realize the value that I had to add for people, because I'm really just trying to help them reach their goals. Yeah. And so that made it easier than like, coming from a place of desperation, and I really need to, close a deal. But it's not easy. You have to switch from that survival mindset and scarcity to
abundance.
To abundance, to confidence, to like really trusting and knowing that you have what they need. Like you can help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you're trying to help somebody, you're not selling them.
Sure.
But you can only have that mindset if you're like putting in the work in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have a value to bring to people and you're just waking up and thinking, hey, I'm going to call somebody and see how I can help. It's like, well, what do you know about the market? Like you got to be putting in that work to be confident.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm big on is like, if you can be confident and you've studied it and you've asked the questions and you're just like, I am here to help and I can help you. So tell me what's going on. Otherwise I'm BSing.
It took time to learn that. And then it took time to realize that I had that. So that it's a journey and it's not quick, but yeah, it was a big shift. And now I'm like, man, they're going to buy with someone. It's my duty to give realtors a better name, get the icky used car salesman stigma off of our industry, and really increase the level of service we provide. Yeah.
What would you say? I think this would be a good moment for people because there are a lot of people that feel trapped. What's like your biggest thoughts to them or like your advice on they're just not happy where they're at? And maybe real estate's an option, maybe not.
Yeah.
What is it that like you looking back was like, what would be valuable for them to hear?
Yeah, it's a scary thing that you're in control, but you're also responsible for everything, for where you are in your life. At some point, you're an adult. I mean, everyone doesn't start in the same place, but at the end of the day, you're the only one that can change your life. So the part of the cash flow tactics is switching from a consumer to a producer mindset and really just breaking everything down. And like, if you have value to add, if this water is more valuable to you than your dollar is, then it's a win-win and I can add value for people. So then my brain started really going, and the Russell Brunson stuff, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, but people were coming up with all kinds of solutions for people and data products. And I just got inspired watching people with a crockpot ebook or with, how to just solving people's problems and getting paid very well to add value for people. So I'm like, it doesn't have to be making TVs. It doesn't have to be anything. If you can help people and add value and solve problems, you can also help yourself produce income. And I don't know, there was just not a moment, but a couple of years that I was like, okay, I can add value for people, work really hard, learn as much as I can. And what do you have to lose at the end of the day? What's the worst that can happen? And then what? So you go back and get another job. Well, that's exactly where you are right now. Yeah. So you either take action and learn and go back to where you are now, or you take action and succeed and get feedback and refine. Like,
sure. Yeah,
there really is no losing. It's just like learning or winning.
And come up with a plan too, right? Like we have a lot of people reach out to us, and I've talked to a lot of people over the years, even before real estate, where, I've got 5 kids and I barely make enough money now to put food on the table and keep the lights on. And, my wife just lost her job, and, I can't just quit my job. I can't just give this a shot. I've got these people relying on me, or this or that, or I've got my student loans that I'm still paying off every month, or this or that. And I think you need to come up with a plan, right? Sure. Like you mentioned, you had a safety net, and when I made this leap as well, like I had a lot of money saved up. Maybe somebody doesn't have that. However, I don't think that has to be, just because that may be the case, that doesn't mean that it's not possible, right? So maybe you go get another job. Maybe you keep the job and you try and, trade this glass of water for the dollar if the value proposition is there. I mean, figure something out. Don't just, if you really want it, don't let, your current situation or external circumstances dictate, your trajectory forward. You can, like you're saying, you are responsible, and you are responsible for coming up with a plan or making something happen or making some adjustment to make that work and go figure it out, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think we're given this one wild and precious life, and we, like, a moment of seeing myself spend years and years kind of in the same stuck place, and seeing friends and family sit in a job they hated or a marriage they hated and just spend years and years and years of their life there. And I was like, man, that's it. At the end of your life, you're going to look back. And then also my nerdy accountant brain really saw Brad Gibb, shout out, break it down. Math is the path. The return on a real estate purchase. You can make money in 4 different ways. And they're like paying that student loan debt or paying for a car. Like, and instead of paying cash or making that monthly payment, if instead you bought a cash flowing property that could make that payment for you, just the numbers and the return on your investment was really eye-opening compared to all the other investment choices that you have. So I was really like, okay, this is the way to do it. I'm convinced this is the best way and the highest return. And I had to just focus, go all in on this. What's the next step? What's my next little target? So you do need a plan, and it is hard to let yourself think bigger and get out of that scarcity mode and that survival mode. But if somehow you can daydream, meditate, just think of what you want without guilt, without regret, without, I don't deserve that, other people, whatever, you can create what you want for your life and your family and have more impact for other people. So it just was like, man, I could really help people. If I made this much money, I could do this and do that and have more impact and have more, I never really thought of myself as a leader, but I'm like, why not? It's not about me. It's about them.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah. Real estate is the cheat code to creating wealth.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about agent success because we're bringing on new agents, and if they're brand new, they go through agent success. What's your sales pitch? Like, what's your passion behind that, and tell people what it is.
Yeah. Like I said, I learned by being a bad agent, and I really am trying to create a training program that I would have liked to have starting out. So I now am blessed to be able to invest in this high-level coaching program, and it's amazing. It makes me think in a different way. It's just added a lot of value to my life. So I'm like, how can I go back to where they are and create something that helps break it down for them, that really helps them? What did I need? And, I am trying to create modules with what I feel like worked for me, and then help people get out of their own way, the mindset stuff.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So to touch a little more on it, like if you're a brand new agent and you join TRE, Jess would be agent success coach. And is that a weekly meeting or?
There's a weekly training or huddle for anyone who wants to come, especially those agents on leads, just trying to help them work through talking to leads and what to do with them and how to really help them. I have a system, a buyer system, a seller system, a leasing system that I've worked hard to put on paper, and it has every email template, every closing minus 14 days, closing minus 7 days. Here's what you do every single day from the time you get this lead to getting them under contract to closing, and after closing too.
Nice.
And so it feels good to have your brain on paper so that you're not going to forget something.
Sure.
It's all right there. And we have a CRM that reminds us when we need to do things. So really just trying to take the overwhelm out of it and give them each little baby step, and then tell them how it worked for me to lead gen, how I built my business. Obviously you guys supplement with different calls and different other ideas for lead gen, but yeah, we give them everything they need to be successful.
That's great. And then you're taking what you're getting from the coaching program and also implementing like mindset and stuff like that as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Double
that really
whammy.
helped me. But yeah, there's also an accountability meeting once a week for everybody, breaking down those action items. And then, were you able to get those action items done this week? Why or why not? Are they the right things that are going to really get you closer to your goal and move the needle? Are you miserable doing them? If not, let's do something else. We don't want to, compromise your quality of life. And we don't want to do more of what makes you miserable just to build a bigger, miserable business. So you have to work hard and do things that are outside of your comfort zone. But yeah, I'm trying to help people find things that they could enjoy. But yeah, and then I have office hours a couple of times a week for just spot coaching and brainstorming and helping people work through things. It's been fun to hear people's goals and their biggest obstacles, so I can kind of formulate the training to be most relevant to them.
Yeah, and they're loving it.
Awesome.
So that's my little sales pitch right now. I mean, if you're looking at joining TRE, you get me and Alex to help you. You get Jess, 3 people that genuinely will have your back, and we're not just trying to sign people on and then them not get what we're talking about. Like, we care. We're here. And if people are trapped in a job and they want to get out of it, like you literally have that same experience. I just started in real estate when I was 18 years old, 17, but I worked through jobs and I know that experience and that I didn't want that.
Yeah.
But I just keep falling back on like real estate is amazing. And it's a vehicle, right? Like there's other things we like in life and there's other things that we do, but real estate is what makes it possible.
For sure.
And I truly believe that if people want that, especially in Austin, Texas, you can make it happen. But like you said, it's simple, but it's definitely not easy.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's been the most eye-opening and the best learning experience. And I love learning, but there's so many facets. There's so many ways you can be successful in real estate. And then you can really help a lot of people by giving them a great place to live, to rent, by helping them. I mean, it's really just awesome to help them understand that they're in control and they can do it, like whatever their goals are. Like, you got this. I just read Extreme Ownership, but it's neat. I mean, you're responsible, but also if I can do it, you can do it. And I know I've had it easier than a lot of people, but it's super cool to see people really realize that.
Yeah, and you're also going to help them get there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What ways can maybe people reach out to you, or how can our listeners add value for you?
Good question. My website is keygroupaustin.com and Jess Smith Austin on Instagram. That's where people can find me. I'm happy to talk to them and answer any questions they might have. And I just love hearing people's stories. I used to want to go to like a prison, to a jail, and just like talk to people and hear their stories, their life stories. And I mean, if there's anything I can do to help them, it's great. And I learn a lot from other people's experiences too, like the agents and the agent success program. I'm like, man, we should talk about that more. Like, you have a whole different skill set and a whole different book of experiences. Yeah. And I'd love to just hear about it and hear your story.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of people that do different things here. Engineers, architects, librarian, whatever it may be, developers. And I love that we're trying to create a similar minded approach to things. And so in doing that, people just start sharing, and all of a sudden you got a little partnership over here, and everyone grows together.
That's awesome. Yeah, people have different needs and different things to offer, and it's really cool to see. Cool.
Well, I guess before we get out of here, is there anything else you'd like to touch on or think's important? Or
I don't think so. I think that's about it. But if there's anything we can do to help people understand that they can do it,
you can do it.
It's worth coffee. Let's chat and come up with a game plan.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing. It's really cool to get a little bit more insight in your background. And guys, we're always here to help. We appreciate you checking us out, The Real Estate Podcast. If you can, share this with your friends, subscribe, like, comment, and we're here to help. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.